Hey, if you're passionate about music and want to have a successful music career, stick around because in this video I'm going to share with you 4 tips that are going to help you become a successful musician. Hey guys, what's up? My name is Matt Friedland. I'm a professional musician and music instructor. I own a music studio in Tempe, Arizona, and am the founder of the 360 Music System, where I train intermediate guitar players on how to reach the professional level. I want to thank you so much for stopping by to check out this channel. And I'm not sure where you are in your journey right now in your musical development. Maybe you're a couple years in, you're just getting your playing down, you're really passionate about music and you want to make a career for yourself musically and you're ready to take it to the next level and need some insights. Maybe you've been in the industry for a little bit already and you're just looking for some more tips to elevate your career. Maybe you want to quit your day job and want to work musically full time and need some insights. So wherever you are, I hope these insights that I'm going to provide to you today will give you some value. And if they do, please like this video, please subscribe to the channel so you never miss any new content coming out. And I just want to share with you guys today that basically I've been an independent musician for about 13 years. I haven't worked necessarily really for anybody. I've been running my own business for at least the last 7 years completely on my own. So I'm going to share with you my experience of how I got to this point where I'm able to run my own business, earn a very comfortable income in hopes that this helps you in your journey and how you can get to the point where you're doing music full time as your main gig and don't have to work for anybody or anything like that. The first thing is, from the get-go, this may seem, kind of obvious, but the thing is you have to, number one, you have to believe in yourself and you have to believe that you're capable of doing this. Now, if you're like me in the beginning stages of when you found music and maybe you found a passion for it, that might have been early on, it might have been more recently. I'll tell you that when I was about 18 years old, that's when I found a passion for music. So many would consider that to be kind of old to determine, hey, somebody with no experience, no ability yet, determines that music is what they're passionate about and that's what they want to pursue. And the thing is, I believed in myself, yet a lot of people didn't. And that's what's going to happen for most people is that people are going to look at you and think, well, music is just a pipe dream. How are you actually going to make money doing this? How are you going to have a career doing this? You're not any good right now. And they might say, hey, you should get a real job and things like that. The truth is, if you really love music and if you're really passionate about it, you have to believe in yourself and not let those things get you down. The lack of support will be kind of hard to take, particularly if it's coming from friends and family. Like my parents were not really that supportive of music. They're not musicians, they're not musically inclined. And so when I was telling them, hey, I believe I can do this, there was definitely a sense of doubt. And of course they supported me just because, they're my parents, but not to the degree of saying, hey, you should go all out and we're going to do everything we can to make this happen for you is really kind of on me. It was more like, hey, get a real job and do music on the side if this is what you're really serious about. So I believed in myself, and that's the first step. If you don't believe in yourself, nobody else is going to. Now, the other key component to this, you have to believe in yourself because when you first get started in this endeavor, and you might have had these experiences already, is that you're going to have a lot of failures and you're going to have a lot of things that are going to discourage you and maybe question if what you're doing is really the right thing. And it's important to keep that element of believing in yourself so that you can overcome those challenges and actually reach your goals. So I'll give you a quick example. I was playing for about a couple years, mostly self-taught, played in a band, had some good experiences playing music and was putting myself out there and wanted to get to the next level and realized I needed some help, some lessons, some coaching, some training. And I wanted to apply for a music school, the University of Arts in the Philadelphia area, which is where I grew up. And I was set up with a music instructor through family friends, and he was a classical guy, and I took lessons with him for a few months and told him, hey, I want to audition for this program. And he kind of looked at me like, you're kind of nuts because you're not ready to do that, but didn't necessarily say that to me. And so he was pretty hard on me. and also didn't necessarily share with me what to really expect by doing this audition. So I was going in pretty blind and pretty ignorant. And I show up to do this audition about after 3 months of taking lessons with this guitar teacher, and I'm in the room with a bunch of other musicians who are ready to audition, and I was super nervous and realized, man, I have no idea what I'm getting myself into right now. And I realized everybody else had a good idea of what was happening musically and you know, what was going to happen in this audition, and I realized I just really didn't know what was going on. The thing is, I believed in myself, and I just really wanted to get better and improve, but I didn't really know where else to go to do that. And I thought, well, I'm going to do this audition. I know I don't know everything, but if I can express to the faculty that's going to review me for the audition, hey, I'm really passionate, I just want to learn, I'll be a really good student, and I won't let you down, that would allow them to accept me into the program. So I went in and did the audition, and they asked me, do you know these scales? What repertoire can you play for us? And a bunch of other things that I was like, I just really don't know. And I had a few things prepared, and I was playing a tune for them, and it was a Beatles tune, Hide Your Love Away, I think was the tune. And I started to play it for them, and they just cut me off immediately, said thank you, and they were like thanks, and basically just kind of kicked me out of the room, almost laughing at me. It was crushing. And I left feeling like, oh my God, I just embarrassed myself, and what am I doing, and is this the right thing? And really thought about, man, like questioning my musical abilities. Can I actually do this? And I took about a day or two to kind of consider all that, and really at the end of it said, hey, I still believe in myself. This was a failure. I learned a valuable lesson, and I just got to keep going. I got to find another place that I can build my skills, which is something else I'll talk about in a second here in a minute. But just keep going, because I really am passionate about music, and if you're passionate about music as well, you can't let those things get you down. There are going to be people that are going to discourage you, that they're going to they're going to tell you you're no good, or literally kick you out of an audition. And so at that point, I thought about Michael Jordan, the great Michael Jordan basketball player. And the story about Michael Jordan, if you don't know, is that he got cut from his high school basketball team. The great Michael Jordan got cut from his high school basketball team. So I told myself that, if probably the greatest player in the NBA history could get cut from his high school basketball team, if he continued to make that, to work on his craft and come back the next year and had that drive, then he was extremely successful. So you have to keep going. Even in the failures, you have to keep going. So that's the big thing. Number one, believe in yourself. There's going to be people that don't believe in you. There's going to be failures that you're going to encounter. There's going to be things that are going to make you question if you're really any good at this. But if you're really passionate and believe in yourself, you got to keep going, and eventually you can be successful. So tip number one, definitely believe in yourself. Tip number two, you have to do the work. Now, believing in yourself is really important, but if you're not doing the work and just thinking that one day it's just going to magically happen, that you're all of a sudden going to be Jimi Hendrix, likely that you're not going to actually become a successful musician. So you actually need to put the time in and the work. And you have to learn to love the process of becoming a musician, and it takes time. By work, I mean you actually have to practice every day, no exception. You have to do this every day if you want to be great and successful. And you have to do it in a methodical and structured way. Just playing your favorite songs or just writing your own music and just doing things that you want to do, that's great for having fun with the instrument and exploring, and that's very important. But at a certain point, you're going to have to get serious and start putting in the real work to refine your skills so that you can become a competent musician. So remember that this is a very competitive field. There's a lot of really good, knowledgeable, competent musicians and instructors out there. And if you're not at that level, if you're not putting in the work, you're never going to be able to compete with those people, and it's going to be very difficult to become successful, whether that means, finding bands to play in, to actually make a living as a musician, or being able to teach other people as a musician, or maybe you're writing charts for people, or you're a recording engineer or something, you're working with recording bands or whatnot. Like, if you don't put the time and effort into refining your skills as a musician, you're just not going to be able to be successful. Now, one of the most important things to doing the work and actually knowing if you're making progress is measuring your progress. You need proven methods and systems to know, hey, am I getting better? Am I moving on the right track? Am I progressing? Am I heading in the right direction? And am I doing this so that you can build your confidence and know that you can actually improve pretty quickly and drastically if you do these things? But if you don't know how to measure your progress, then it's going to be very difficult for you to make the work that you're putting in actually pay off and be effective. So if you'd like to learn more about how to measure your progress as a musician, click the link below. There's a free PDF download audio track that you can get from my website, where I go into detail about how you can actually measure your progress as a musician so that you can become successful. So just click that link below if you want that free download. Okay, tip number 3 to becoming a successful musician: you have to invest in yourself. It's going to be really difficult if you're just going to try and learn all this stuff, all the skills you need to become a successful musician, completely on your own. It's good to be self-taught. I was self-taught for about the first year and a half of my playing. I took a music theory class early on, which helped a little bit. I was playing with other musicians, which gave me some good experience, but eventually I needed help. I needed to start taking lessons with instructors. Eventually I would go to music school and invest in myself and my education with that. So you need to invest in yourself for your skills as a musician, but also you're going to need to invest in yourself for your skills in terms of a business sense of things. Because what I learned by going to music school is where you learn the skills to become a musician. They don't really teach you how to manage yourself as a business entity at all. So I had to look in other areas and invest in other training programs in order to enhance my business understanding so that I could continue doing music as a living. Because one of the things that happens to musicians is they only think about the music side and they never enhance their skills or invest in their skills in the business side, and eventually they just can't get enough momentum, or they can't generate enough income to sustain themselves as a musician, and they have to get the real job. So you have to invest in both of those things. Now, the skills that you need to invest in, what I've found is that I needed to be super competent in music for a variety of reasons, for my own personal reasons, but also so that I could communicate to other musicians and to my music students much more effectively. So I knew at a certain point I needed to invest in myself and the ability to understand music theory in super great detail, so that I could understand music in great detail, so that I could explain it to students of mine so that they actually are being helped by me. Because if you can't explain what you're playing or doing to somebody else, particularly as a student, they're just not going to continue to pay you for that service. The other thing that was super valuable to enhance those skills was the ability to learn to read and write music. That's a super important skill for communication. If I need to communicate to students, I need to be able to have it in written form, and I need to be able to break that down so that they can understand the information, so they can actually progress and feel good about their experience with me. Or if I'm communicating with other musicians in a band, in order to make the music come together, we need to have forms of communication. So learning to read and write was, it was a massively important skill that I had to invest in myself to learn. The other thing I found with that is being able to learn to read and write helped me write out charts of music and transcribe music off of recordings, and so that I could present that information accurately to students or to other band members so that they could see the charts clearly, understand what's happening in songs, and make the learning process much more effective. So those are some skills that are really important. Now, from the business side, I needed to understand certain dynamics about business. One being is that, as an artist, as a musician, we think, well, it's all about the art, it's all about the music, and we don't want to sell out or that kind of thing. The reality is, if you're a starving artist, the reason why you're a starving artist is because you don't know how to sell. And if you want to be successful in any endeavor in life, you're going to have to learn some principles on selling and get over this kind of thing about selling is a negative or bad thing. Once I kind of changed my thinking in terms of like understanding the importance of selling and how to implement that in my business, and invested in programs to teach myself how to do that or learn how to sell, that allowed me to sustain my music business at a much more successful rate and solve a lot of the challenges and dilemmas that I was having. So a lot of musicians basically burn out musically. They can't sustain themselves because they just really lack a lot of selling skills or business skills. So those are other things that you'll need to invest in. You need to actually spend money on yourself, to invest in yourself so you can build these skills, so that you can actually sustain yourself as a musician for the long term. And I know this because I've been doing music for the last 13 years. I haven't had any other jobs, no other industry, not really working for anybody else, running my business completely on my own. So if you have the skills and invest in yourself, you can be successful and sustain yourself. So tip number 3, invest in yourself. Okay guys, so the last tip here is tip number 4. You have to learn to work well with others. Being a musician means that you're going to have to work with other musicians to be able to get gigs. And or if you want to record or produce their music, you have to work with other people. And definitely as a music instructor, you have to be able to work with other people, learn to work with other people to be able to help them so that they want to continue to pay for your services. And the other thing is you need to learn to work with other people in terms of getting experience. So if you're inexperienced, if you haven't played in a lot of bands, if you haven't taught a lot of music students, that's important that you gain that experience, you understand how to work with people. And one of the most important things that you can do by learning how to work with people is having people feel good about being around you, being positive, being a problem solver, and making people feel happier when they left seeing you than when they came to you, particularly as a music teacher. As a music teacher, you're there to solve music students' problems and help them. And they're going to come to you with a problem generally. And if you can help them solve that problem and guide them and help them, they're going to be happier when they left you. And that's going to help you sustain yourself as a music teacher. They're going to continue coming back to you and pay you over and over again because they feel good about working with you and they know that you can help them and they're confident in your skills. Same thing if you're a working musician. If you get hired to do a gig and you're prepared for the gig, you know the songs, and you have a positive attitude, you're not a complainer, people are going to hire you over and over again, they're going to refer to you, and you're going to get gigs regularly because people enjoy working with you and they know you're going to do a good job. Now, some people are difficult to work with. I mean, you have to learn these skills of how to manage people. Some people are very stuck in how they do things, and you may not agree with that. But if you're always positive and trying to find a solution and a result that's going to benefit everybody, this is going to help you be a successful musician and sustain yourself as a working musician for the long term. So gaining experience playing with other people, learning how to work with other people in a positive way, these are all key attributes because it's very difficult to be a musician in isolation or just in your own world or your own bubble. So you need experience, you need to get out working with other people, and the more you get experience working with other people, the more skills that you'll build and the more successful that you'll be. All right guys, so these are the 4 tips of becoming a successful musician. I really hope that you got value from this. Let me know in the comments what you thought, what some of your experiences are. If you like this content, please, again, like this video, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any future videos coming up. I want to thank you again for watching this content, watching the video here. My name is Matt Friedland, the founder of the 360 Music System, where I help intermediate guitar players reach professional levels. And hope to see you guys in the next video. Thanks again, and see you then. Thanks. Bye.